Hi, everybody. Welcome to this morning. I'm glad to have you joining me. Today, we're going to talk about normal aging and not normal aging. My name is Sue Ann Jackson, and I've been training this kind of material for about 5 years. It's material from a woman by the name of Teepa Snow, T-E-E-P-A, Snow, S-N-O-W. T as in Tom, E-E-P as in pig, A, T-E-E-P-A, Snow. She's an occupational therapist from back east who's been working with folks with dementia for over 20 or 30 years or more. And she has worked with the Alzheimer's Association and helped to put this information together. What we're going to talk about today is just normal aging versus not normal aging. Dementia, what are things that look like dementia, and 5 ways that we take in information. So what I wanted to start with today was to talk about what aging means to us. What do we think about when we think about aging? And, we could have a discussion on that. We think about being vulnerable. We think about our bodies getting sicker. We think about losing our memories, losing our independence, becoming more isolated, and maybe moving from our homes into a community. There's a lot of things that don't feel good when we start to think about aging. I do think there's some things on the positive side. We think about the fact that we get wiser, so we get smarter as we get older. We make better choices sometimes. We might have more options than we had when we were younger. But sometimes if we get sick and we haven't thought about it ahead of time, we have less options. So it's really important to plan and think about things ahead of time. So I want to show you a video. This video is of Teepa Snow, and she is, Teepa Snow, I told you who she is. She's quite a character. I hope you will like this video, and then, so pay attention to it, and then we'll talk about this video. The first one is normal aging, and we'll talk about it afterwards, so pay attention. And then I will show you one that's not normal aging, and we'll talk about it. So again, thanks for joining me, and watch this video, and then we'll talk about it.
Oh, that's where JCPenney's was, right? They moved out and then I know what you're talking about. Absolutely. The menswear, is that the same? Yep. I know where to be. 2:00, I'll be there. Wait right inside the door. I'll be waiting right inside that door. It's supposed to be a little chilly this afternoon. Yeah. Huh? What? Oh, they opened a new chocolate store. Well, you know me. You know what I'm gonna get. I'll get caramels. I always get caramels. You're gonna get. I know you like the white flaky stuff in the chocolate. Yes, coconut, of course. That's you. Huh? No, I'll be happy to call and see if Margaret wants to come. That'd be great. Yeah. Oh, the vacation pictures? I'll bring them. Wait till you see yourself in that bathing suit. Oh, I was just kidding. Just teasing you. You know how I am. Such a teaser. She's getting fat. I'm not going to say it, but she sure is getting fat. Okay. Huh? What? No, I didn't say anything. I was just talking to myself, writing a note. All right, sweetheart. Well, I'll see you then. Love you. Okay. Bye-bye.
What did I come here for?
What did I come in here for? Hang on, let me think here. I was in the living room. I was watching the TV. Program ended. Hadn't called. I'd been able to remember. Okay, let me think on this. Okay. I was in the living room. I was sitting right here. Okay, and the program ended, and I thought, man, okay. coughing. Why could I not think of that? Lord knows I'm losing it. Now, all of you've gone dead silent. All of your brains are going, oh shit, I have this. Every single one of your brains is going, oh my God. Oh my God. And your brain is going, that's not dementia. That can't be dementia. I don't think that's dementia. That's just normal. Isn't that normal? I think that's normal. Your brain is talking to itself. One side is going, I think you've got, no, she didn't say that was dementia. I think she said that was just not normal. I think that was okay. That happens every single time. The room gets dead silent because if you just think old people are worried about this crap, no, we're all concerned. Because you're going, I think I've done that. I did that just yesterday. What you've totally forgot, because in that moment your brain was going, is I said that was normal. I was going to do normal first. So here's what I think I better do. Do this. Roll your shoulders. I think we better do it one more time. You need to let it go. Breathe out all the way because you guys were going. And by the end, your brain's going, shit, oh my God, you've got it. I got it. I told you it's such a stress. I didn't think it was just stress. I told you it was just.
So everybody take a nice deep breath. Remember that was normal aging. So what did you guys notice in that phone call? Starting from the very beginning. Has anything like this ever happened to you guys?
I write it down. I write it down all the time.
You go into a room and get distracted and forget why you went there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
She didn't know who it was.
Yeah.
I think I forget names that
Yeah.
more than other things.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's nouns and names rather than verbs or doing something.
Sure. And and some of us aren't good with names and people anyway. We know who the person is. We just don't connect the name with them always. Some of us are that way even when we're younger. But for sure, she knew who it was. She even kind of knew, what it started with. She just couldn't come up with the name. What else? What else did you notice?
Hearing loss.
You think she had some hearing loss?
Mm.
What made you think that?
She kept saying, over and over again.
Okay. What else?
Repeating the instructions where
Repeating.
she had to go. First of all, it was the men's department, then it was the children's department. I hate to think what happened.
Yeah, what did she, they were talking about meeting at Macy's, which used to be J.C. Penney's. And she was able to talk about that and the fact that, yes, she knows it's Macy's now and she knew it was J.C. Penney's. And they talked about which department and everything. They talked about calling a friend. And did you think she's going to remember to call that friend?
Probably not.
Probably not, no.
What about when they were talking about the chocolate shop and talking about the kind of chocolate they like? What did you notice in there?
Well, some
You forgot
difficult,
about coconut, I guess is what.
trying to remember that. Mhm.
Yeah, she couldn't come up with the word coconut, but she described it to herself. She knew it was white flaky stuff. And
Yeah.
then she could, and then she could come up with the word.
Yeah.
What about when they were talking about her bringing the pictures of the boat and her friend in her bathing suit? She was kind of appropriate, right?
Yeah.
She was pretty good with that one. So one of the things that I wanted to share with you guys is that our brains peak in their processing when we're at the ages of 25 to 30. So I think it was somebody that mentioned earlier that we're a lot slower to do things. We really are slower because our brains peaked in their processing between the ages of 25 and 30, and then they started getting slower and slower. So by the time we get to 75 or 80 or so, our brains are maybe only, half as quick as they used to be. The other thing is that our working memory is only able to keep 5 to 8 things at a time. And so we always talk about multitasking, but Teepa, she got the phone call. They were talking about calling someone else, meeting at 2:00, meeting at the Macy's. They were talking about bringing the pictures. They were talking about the chocolate shop, and they were going on and on. And so she had way too many things to think about. Now, if she had, if Betty had called and it had just been a hello, how are you, goodbye, maybe Teepa would have remembered the coffee. But they started going into all this other stuff. And so there was no way the coffee was going to stay in Teepa's mind, because we only remember 5 to 8 things in our working memory. Let's see. Anything else you guys noticed about that one? Did that seem familiar?
I find that I don't have the vocabulary I used to. And I want to say a word and it won't come, and I have to use about 5 words to describe what I mean. And that has happened to me for quite a while.
Yeah.
It's kind of embarrassing.
It does get that way, doesn't it?
I mean, you know the perfect word, but it just won't come.
It doesn't come from your brain out your mouth, right? Yeah. So the other thing about the end of that was that she had everybody take a nice deep belly breath. And I don't know if you guys know this, but if you take at least 1 and maybe 2 or 3 nice deep belly breaths when you're feeling stressed or anxious, you can actually lower your cortisol level in your body. So, but it has to be a belly breath, not just a shallow chest breath. It has to be a nice deep belly breath. And that can actually lower and calm you down. I recently learned that when we get a little bit stressed or anxious, our body has over 1,400 different reactions in it to help it kind of make you more anxious. So it's really important to try and calm ourselves back down. Okay, let's take a look. Let me see if I can get the other one on here. Let's take a look at the not normal aging. This one's just a little bit longer. It's about 7 minutes or so.
So let me show you not normal. I've been watching TV and the program ends, and I said, well, you know what? I think I'll go make something to drink. I'll make some of the stuff that you get. Oh, gonna make it. Phone rings. Hello? Hey, sweetheart. Yeah. Who is this exactly?
Are you guys seeing her now?
Betty who?
Okay, good.
Oh. Well, why didn't you say? Okay. Well, what do you want? Me today? Why do you wait till the last minute? I wish you'd tell me ahead of time. Well, I don't remember you talking about it at Bridge. Did you talk about it at Bridge? Well, you talk all the time at Bridge. Your mouth runs incessantly. Huh? Well, okay, I don't mean to be mean, but you just talk a lot. That's all. What? Oh, you want to meet at the mall? Okay, well, that's fine. Which end? 2:00? Yeah. Macy's. Well, honey, I don't think there's a Macy's at that mall. Where's there a Macy's? No, that's a J.C. Penney. It's a J.C. Penney's. I have a card with them. I have a credit card with them. I know what it is. I buy things there. What do you mean they moved out? No, I shopped there not long ago. There's no way they moved out. Did they just close up? Well, good Lord. No, that's still, you sure? I think you're wrong. Well, fine, I'll meet you at that end. I know where you're talking about then. Huh? Inside the men's, well, of course I know where inside the menswear is, but you better get to the right store. You're not going to be there. Huh? All right, well, fine, whatever. What? Oh, they opened a chocolate store. Well, you know me, I love that. That's my favorite. What? Well, I'll have caramel, and you'll get the, oh, you like the kind of brown hairy ball and the brown stuff. What do you mean, what am I talking about? I'm talking about the brown hairy ball kind that you like. You like the brown, hairy ball. Do you speak English? Honest to God, get what you want. I don't give a shit. I mean, whatever. I won't start arguing about this. Huh? Well, no, I'll call her and see if she wants to come. That's fine. What? The vacation pictures? Oh, about on the boat? Yeah, I'll bring them. Wait till you see yourself in that bathing suit. Well, honey, you look like a calf. No, I'm telling you, your butt cheek is hanging out so bad. I mean, it looks. I mean, you must have put on what, 30 pounds? I mean, you're eating too many of the brown hairy ball things. That's what's going on. And that's all I can tell you about it, because you got to be sucking them down because the way it's coming. If you don't like looking the way you look, you should do something about it. That's what I say. Well, listen, do you want to get together? You're going to get an attitude. Well, then I'll see you there too. That's fine. I don't know why you're so stirred up. You're the one eating. All right, then. Shit. I mean, I don't know what her problem is. Lord, she gets an attitude. Now, let me think here. Oh. A dirty cup. A coffee cup. Now, I told my son that I was fairly sure that gypsies were coming in here at night and making coffee, drinking my coffee, and leaving dirty dishes, because I've never left dirty dish in my life. And here it sits, a dirty coffee cup, partially drunk out of. I'll guarantee this has their prominence all over it. And I better go check the bathroom, because sure, when they get in here and get that, they'll steal toilet paper too. They always steal toilet paper. Look at that. See, the roll's empty again. They come in here and he thinks I'm not nuts, because I saw that it's gone. Well, I'm going to go down to the corner store here and get some toilet paper, because there's nothing worse than constipation and you got to go and there's no toilet paper. You got to have some. So I go down to the corner store and I pick up a few things that I need, because I know there's some things I need. And I come back and I go to put them in the fridge and such. And there's another quart of milk in there. Well, I wonder who brought that by. I don't know when they brought that. Well, good. I can make use of it. It'll be fine. And let me go put this toilet paper up. You know, I'm not going to put it in here, because sure as hell they'll steal it just like they stole the other stuff. I'm going to go put this in the spare bedroom closet, because they won't think to look there. Okay, here we go. Oh, my God. This is where they're keeping it until they can bring a truck to come pick it up. There's got to be 30 rolls right there. I'm going to hide it under the bed. They won't know where to look for it.
Yeah.
At 10 minutes after 2, the telephone rings. Hello? Well, hi there. How are you? What do you mean, where am I? I'm at home. Where are you?
Yeah.
Well, what are you doing at the mall? Well, if you wanted me to come to the mall, you should have called me. I can't read your mind. What do you mean you did? Who'd you talk to? No, I didn't talk to you. I don't remember if I talked to you. I hadn't talked to you in, I don't know, a month or so. You did not call me. Maybe you called the other one. Listen, I mean, I hate saying this, because I hate even bringing it up, but I think you best go see the doctor, because I think you may have that dementia they talk about, because I think you're all turned around, sweetheart. All right. Well, bye-bye. All right.
Okay. So what did you notice about that one?
Not good.
Not good. This one is not normal aging, right?
No, and when she's having her first telephone conversation, no barriers.
Yeah, she has no barriers, no filter, right?
No.
No filter this time. So let's start with the beginning. And this time, could she remember her friend's name at all? No.
No.
She didn't know what the person's name was. And she, when we were talking about where to meet, whether J.C. Penney's or Macy's, she got stuck back there at the J.C. Penney's, right? She got stuck. She couldn't remember that it had turned into Macy's now. And what happened when they were talking about the chocolate this time?
She couldn't remember again.
She couldn't come up with the coconut, right?
Right.
What she did say was the brown hairy ball, which is actually what a coconut looks like, but it's not the white flaky stuff. She was totally just with the brown hairy ball. And then with the picture and her friend in the swimsuit, what happened there?
Oh, no filter.
No filter.
No filter, no filter whatsoever, right?
I felt that she turned everything around and put the problem on the other person, as if the other person was in error,
Absolutely, she sure,
denying her own situation.
she absolutely did that.
And
But
she
she's
became
very-
angry when they didn't cooperate.
Anxious that other people are gonna hurt her. She's very suspicious.
Yeah, when she got off the phone, so there were a number of things that went on with the phone call that we could tell were not normal aging. But then when she got off the phone, she picked up a cup and she said, this is a dirty cup. And did you notice that she said, I would never have a dirty coffee cup in my home? So what she had to do was to make up a story about why that dirty cup was there.
Right.
It's called confabulation.
Okay.
Her mind, it doesn't work and reason from A to B to C anymore. So she had to make up a story because in her home, she knew she would never have a dirty cup sitting around. So she had to make up a story, and it went to, gypsies and stealing toilet paper. And it can come from books she's read, movies she's read, experiences she's had, or just her imagination. The other thing that I hope you noticed was that when she held the coffee cup up, she said it had their firmaments on it. Did anybody catch that? I'm pretty sure she meant fingerprints.
Oh,
So she had a word out there, but it didn't make any sense. It wasn't the right word. She just kind of threw it out there, and that's the word she used. So she couldn't find the right word. She didn't even look, and she just kind of threw a word out there. So inappropriate words or not the right words. She's going to misspeak, right?
Yeah.
So words didn't even come to her. She was confused between past and present. Words didn't even come with a cue this time. So let's take a look here. So we saw normal aging and not normal aging. Now, for those of you who are good on the computer, if you go to YouTube, Teepa Snow has quite a number of videos. And if you type in YouTube and then type in Teepa Snow and then type in difference between. Now I have these two great videos because I'm a trainer and this is the material she gives me. But she's done about a 7-minute video on YouTube that she calls the difference between Alzheimer's and forgetfulness, which is basically the difference between normal aging and not normal aging. So if you wanted to show other people or you want to look at it again, you could go to that. Again, you just go to YouTube and then type in Teepa, T-E-E-P-A, Snow, and then type in the word difference or difference between, and it'll pop up. You'll see it.
Peter Snow.
Teepa, T as in Tom, E-E-P as in pig, A, Snow.
Peter Snow, okay.
Okay, so let's look at this normal aging versus not normal aging. I've got it on the screen right in front of you. So let's go through normal aging just to be sure again. So with normal aging, you can't recall a word, but you can probably describe the word and get it to pop up. With normal aging, we have to give people more time to process information. We're much slower than we used to be. Remember, we peaked between the ages of 25 and 30. So now we're slower to think, slower to do things, a little more hesitant, a little more likely to look and not take a risk. We know who the person is, but we may not know their name. We may not be able to connect their name with them. And we might have to pause when we're looking for a word. And new information reminds us of old information. So we might be likely to tell a story related to the old information. Okay, so that's all normal aging. Not normal aging, we are not able to think in the same way. And when I teach people about dementia and Alzheimer's, we actually look at brain pictures to look at what's happening to the brain. The brain is shrinking and dying, so we don't have the cells talking to each other in the same way they have always talked to each other. So we're unable to think in the same way. We're unable to do things that we've done before. We're unable to get started on a task. If I were to hand you guys a sweater, you might not be able to remember that you need to put it on. But if I helped you start it up one arm, your body memories would take over, because your body has done that so many times before, that if we got it started up one arm, your body would just kick in and put the sweater on, and your brain wouldn't have to think about it. One of the things that happened with Teepa was that she got stuck in a moment of time. That's not normal aging, to be stuck in that moment of time. We saw her get stuck back where it was J.C. Penney's, and she had a credit card and she shopped there, and she couldn't bring herself forward in her mind to be with the Macy's. Not normal aging, we're not able to think things out. She knew there was a dirty coffee cup there, but she couldn't explain why. So she had to make up a story. Again, that's called confabulation. She was unable to successfully place Betty when she called. Unable to successfully place the person. Now, you may know with not normal aging that that person is special to you. You may have a heart connection, but you won't know if it's your mom, your sister, your neighbor, your friend. You know that person's special, but you don't know who that is or what relationship you have with them. In not normal aging, words don't come even with clues, not even with visual, verbal, or touch clues. The words aren't there anymore. And if you guys decide that you'd like me to, and we do that other hour sometime, I can show you that the brain just doesn't have the storage places, like the filing cabinets that keep the words there. It's just not there anymore. And a lot of confusion between past and present, in and out quite a bit. While our brain cells are shrinking and dying, the chemicals that help our cells talk to each other are varying. Each of us vary anyway, but as the not normal aging happens, our brains shrinks and dies, and so the chemicals are varied and they don't work as well, so our brain cells don't talk to each other as much. Personality and or behaviors will be different. This area up here is called the frontal lobe, and this is what we call our executive control center. This is where our filter is, our reasoning, our judgment. And this area also shrinks and dies. And sometimes that's one of the first signs that people see. That's how we knew my aunt had something going on. She was always just the nicest person you'd ever want to meet. And all of a sudden she started being really nasty and mean. And so we knew something was happening. We took her to the doctor, and she had she had some dementia going on, probably Alzheimer's. So we have the difference between normal and not normal aging. I wanted to talk a little bit about dementia, just to help you guys understand that there are some things that mimic dementia. And dementia is a medical diagnosis. Depression is a mental health diagnosis. You can have a type of dementia, and there's over 120 types of dementia out there now that they've identified. You can have dementia, a medical diagnosis, and also have a mental health diagnosis. So you can have dementia and depression. You can have dementia and bipolar. You can have dementia and paranoid schizophrenic. So you can have both. But depression actually mimics a lot of the dementia symptoms. So it's really important to get people who feel this way assessed to see whether it's dementia or whether it's depression, because they will treat them a little bit differently. So with depression, you can't think really well. You don't remember really well. Things don't feel like they're worth it. You can lose some functioning. You can have big mood swings. You can have some personality changes and definitely some sleep disturbances, sleep pattern changes. That's very similar to some of the dementia signs. It affects, you know, your brain and your mood swings and your loss of functioning and your memory. All those kinds of things can also change with dementia. So it's important to get the person assessed. Both dementia and depression can come on slowly. They don't always have to be really fast. They can take some time. So it might be hard to notice that things are happening. Now, there's also something that mimics dementia. It's called delirium, and it comes on very quickly. And it's with hallucinations and delusions, and you're there and you're not there. And a lot of times the delirium is caused by an infection. So people, as we get older, that might have a urinary tract infection or a respiratory infection, can sometimes have hallucinations and delusions and sort of be there and not be there. So delirium is probably an infection, and it's very toxic and it's very dangerous. So again, you want to get right to the doctor if that happens to you, because if you get antibiotics, the infection will go away and then you'll be normal again. So watch for those things. And then the other thing I wanted to share with you guys is what's called mild cognitive impairment, or MCI. And it's the beginning of a not normal condition that also affects memory and language and behavior and motor skills. It's not life-threatening in itself, but 3 out of 4 people who get mild cognitive impairment go on to get some type of dementia. Now, the reason I like to talk about this one is that for those of us folks who are in our 70s, 80s, and maybe 90s, if we have to go under anesthesia for any period of time, there's a really good chance that we'll come up out of that anesthesia with MCI. So we'll have memory loss, we might have some language loss, some behavior changes, and some motor skill problems. So if you have to have some surgery, be sure you talk to your anesthesiologist as well as the doctor. MCI can be temporary. You can come up out of that anesthesia and have the MCI for a couple weeks. You can have it for a couple of months, or it can be the beginning of a long-term issue for you. I've had people in my classes that say, oh, we can trace mom's issues back to when she had that surgery 5 years ago. But then I had another gentleman come through and said he had just gotten cleared. He'd had MCI for 6 months after his surgery, but then he was clear and he was okay. So it's just something to think about and talk to your anesthesiologist about. I know when I had my knee replaced a couple of years ago, they asked me if I had any concerns, and I said to the doctor, nah, you guys do knees all the time. I'm sure you've got that down, but I want to talk to the anesthesiologist. And I talked to him about it, and he said for my knee, they could do some kind of spinal block and then what they call a twilight sleep. So they didn't have to put me under.
Yeah.
So it's just something to know about and be careful about and just talk to them about. So I wanted to mention that one. I thought that I would talk with you just for a few minutes about what changes with the not normal aging. And again, there are permanent structural changes in your brain. The chemicals that help your cells talk to each other are sending less chemicals. And we all have a different chemical makeup anyway. And so some people are, they can be there sort of for a minute or 5 minutes or an hour, and then they'll not be there with you. So they call that shining. And that's because of the chemicals. If anybody's scientifically minded, one of the main chemicals is called acetylcholine. I don't know if you guys hear about that or not. There was a movie out a while back called The Notebook with James Garner. That was a lovely little love story. Unfortunately, they weren't really good about showing the Alzheimer's disease the way it really is. So so be careful if you're watching movies that talk about it. Dementia itself, any kind of dementia is a chronic thing and can't be fixed. It gets progressive and it gets worse and it changes over time. The problem for us is that it's not anything we can stop or control at this point. They're still working on it. And it isn't the same for every person. It's not a mental illness, and the brain does deteriorate in certain ways. So that's kind of predictable. But because of the chemical changes, we all, if we have not normal aging, we all do it in a different way. You won't hear somebody say, oh, that's normal for Alzheimer's, because there isn't really a normal for Alzheimer's. And unfortunately, dementia is terminal because the brain is shrinking and dying, and the brain tells our body to breathe and to swallow and to digest and all those things. If it gets to the late stages, our brain isn't telling our body to do anything.
And it's no loss.
Yeah, so I thought that I would, dementia is a huge umbrella. So the not normal aging is a huge umbrella. And I think I said there's 120 different types of dementia out there that they've identified now. Here's just a few of the more common ones. And Alzheimer's is 75 to 85% of people who get dementia get Alzheimer's that we know of right now. And they've actually classified 4 or 5 different types of Alzheimer's because some of the other dementias are combined with Alzheimer's. So they can do that. And young onset is people who are 65 and younger. And we're seeing people now down in their 35 and 40s with Alzheimer's.
Wow.
And then late life onset is 66 and older. Vascular dementias are the kind of dementias that come after people have a stroke.
Yep.
And so this is, it can get worse with each stroke, but if your doctor puts you on a heart healthy diet and you follow that diet, it can sometimes slow down the dementia. Not always, but it's the only kind we know of where if you do something different to your body, it actually has an effect on the dementia. Lewy body dementia is a type of dementia that has a lot of hallucinations and delusions and some paranoia stuff with it. And they have their own specific support group. And that's all I know about it. I'm not a medical person. I come at this from a social background. Frontal temporal lobe is the one I talked about up here in the forehead area. That's the one that has the most behavior changes, impulse control, judgment, those kinds of things. And then there's a ton of other dementias out there, genetic dementias, metabolic, which is systemic ones, alcoholics, alcohol related. So alcoholics in late stage oftentimes get dementia. Drugs and toxin exposure, the big one we're seeing right now is Agent Orange, those folks who were around Agent Orange, and it's a particularly nasty one. It doesn't just affect the DNA in the person that was exposed to the Agent Orange, but it's in the DNA of their children and their grandchildren. So the VA has a special program for those folks, if you know anybody in that category. White matter diseases are things like MS, which is also, motor skills and brain connection stuff. Mass effects is the one that we're seeing with the football players who got concussions when they were younger, the boxers who got concussions when they were younger, and now as they get older, they're having dementia happen. We talked about depression and the mental health conditions that can be connected with dementias. Infections like BBB is blood-brain barrier. So it's things like mad cow disease, which they had a lot of in Europe a while back. And then HIV, late stage HIV folks can oftentimes have dementia. And then the last dementia that's pretty common is Parkinson's, and that one is the tremors. And they have their own support group also. Because I mentioned that Alzheimer's was 75 to 85% of folks with dementia or the not normal aging, the things about Alzheimer's is that new information going in gets lost. Their recent memory worsens. They have problems with finding words, and they might misspeak a word, like she held that up and said firmament instead of fingerprint. People with Alzheimer's can become impulsive and indecisive, and they get easily lost, which is, oops, sorry, which is the first sign a lot of times for anybody, or especially for their family and friends, that they have something going on. You know, they've shopped at the same store for years and years and suddenly can't remember how to get home. With dementia, changes are noticeable every 6 to 12 months. So we recommend that folks go and get assessed, not just your wellness checkup with your GP, but a neurologist or somebody who can do a whole process testing. And then Alzheimer's itself can last anywhere from 5 to 8 to 12 years. And I wanted to just show you a picture of the brain. So the left side is a picture of a gentleman who died from a car accident, and the right side is a picture of a gentleman who died from Alzheimer's. And otherwise, they had pretty much the same physical characteristics and lifestyle and everything. But you can see, what do you notice about the brain on the right-hand side?
Smaller.
It's overall smaller, right?
Darker.
And the color.
And the color, yeah, yeah. And the gaps in between, because it's shrinking and dying, the cells are withering and dying. So while we normally think about just the memory loss, really we need to be thinking about less functioning of every part. And like I said earlier, the brain, things that happen to the brain is fairly predictable, but what isn't predictable is the experience. It looks like a couple of you have chatted something. Let me come in here and see. Susan, Susan, sorry, I didn't see this before. Anesthesia could trigger. It doesn't always trigger, but anesthesia is one of the things that can trigger MCI. And I'm not a medical person. I don't know how they diagnose this, but I know that they can take pictures. I know I show a PET scan when I talk about Alzheimer's in particular. So they can do some MRIs with and look at different things that are happening in your brain and where there's areas of energy and not energy. So if you guys are interested, we can do the whole thing about Alzheimer's another time. And then the other thing just is that we take in information from seeing and hearing and touching and feeling and smelling and tasting. And many of those things, while hearing loss is not, is a part of normal aging, comprehension loss is a part of not normal aging. And folks with Alzheimer's have vision changes, but they don't have smelling and tasting changes. So it's just really, it hits us in different ways. And that's pretty much all the information I was going to share today. Hopefully I didn't depress you at the end. I just wanted to share some of that information with you. I did want to let you know that there's a group called Oregon Care Partners that has free training on their website is OregonCarePartners.com. And they have all kinds of free webinars, free training, as well as Teepa Snow. And it's they have classes in how to do caregiving with different kinds of people. They have classes in behavioral challenges with folks. They have several nurses that do classes on medications, if any of you guys are interested in that kind of thing. So I would go take a look at OregonCarePartners.com and maybe get on their mailing address or check out their website. And then also Teepa Snow has a website. If you guys are anything else, again, I'm not a medical person. Sorry, I can't answer those medical questions, but I appreciate you being with me today. That's awesome. So here's some other resources. Teepa Snow's website. It's just teepasnow.com. And then there's the ADRC of Oregon, Aging and Disability Resource Connection. They have a website that has a lot of information, and they have some information and referral specialists and some options counselors who can talk with you about options. So I'll leave that up there while you guys are writing it down.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
I follow a lot of, I guess, brain health studies and kind of just the newest technologies. And I'm hearing a lot about some brain mapping, like you had mentioned, that they're doing for people with dementia. And they're finding at least from what I've read, they're finding that certain breathing exercises that increase blood flow to all parts of the body and the brain, as well as mindfulness mindfulness exercises are being helpful for people with dementia. Is that something that you're hearing or seeing, or is there any truth to that?
I don't know. There is so much research being done out there at this point, and people are having luck with lots of different things, and some people have luck with some things, and then other people have luck with other things. I don't particularly know about the mindfulness. I know that breathing and mindfulness is good for you in general. They have done studies that show that people are much more relaxed, and when you're more relaxed, your body doesn't contract, and so they say that people live a little bit longer if you're more relaxed and you're happier. I don't know the specific statistics. One study that I have heard about is one called Music-Ophelia. Excuse me. And there's a great case study on YouTube. So again, if you go to YouTube and then type in Alive Inside, it's about a 20-minute video of a gentleman who's gone through this program. They talk with him. Well, they don't talk with him. They show you him before the music and during the music with the headphones and after the music. And they talk to his daughter and they talk to the doctor. So one of the things that happens as people progress with dementia, particularly Alzheimer's, is that people kind of become more introverted. And if you can get to the music that they used to listen to, you can sometimes get them to become a little more engaged. And it's a really great video. And so there are quite a few memory programs around Oregon now who are using using this music to help them out.
Sue Ann, I can share this. I saw this book on the library website called The Bliss Brain.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought, well, that sounds interesting. I checked it out, and it's a man who, I think he must be in his 80s, but he has all his life helped people with mindfulness and meditation. And I'm going through all the different parts of the brain. He tells how meditation and mindfulness will help you. And he always lists it reduces the tendency to dementia and Alzheimer's as
Really?
one of the positive outcomes. And so I recommend everybody getting
Awesome.
that.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Claudine.
Yes.
So
yes.
Bliss Brain, and who's the author? Can you tell us who's the author?
Yes. Dawson Church, DAWSON Church.
Thank you, Claudine. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I just sort of stumbled on it and I'm going, wow, this is
Perfect.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. I know there's another doctor by the name of, I think it's Rick Hansen, I think his name is, and he has done a lot of the mindfulness. I don't know that he's connected it with Alzheimer's, but he does a lot of the mindfulness stuff connected with your health.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to mention that while this topic is not fun, it was very useful and very instructional, educational. So thank you very much.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you're welcome. I'm happy to do it. And like I said, if you guys are interested, I can also speak to the Alzheimer's in particular. And if you would like to, and show you pictures of the brain and talk about what happens and why. And so if you guys are interested, I can do that in a few weeks again, if you would like.
Mhm. That's good.
Thank you so much. This is
Thank you.
wonderful.
It's very informative.
Oh, I'm so glad you guys joined me. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Sue.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Suzanne.
Bye-bye.
Guys, have a great day.
You too. You too.
Bye.